Hey guys, welcome to the Women Going Big podcast. This is a Women Going Big in Business series. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Krista, your host, and I'm thrilled to introduce my guest for today, AJ. She is the founder and owner of Dare & Co., an infant and toddler snapback brand. You guys, her story is phenomenal, and I'm not going to take too much away from it because I think she can tell you guys a little bit better than me. So, AJ, go ahead and take it away and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm AJ, and I own Dare & Co. So it's an infant and toddler snapback brand. So I actually started in 2016. So I originally started after I had my little boy, and I wanted something like an accessory for him, and my husband always wore hats. So it was kind of his idea actually to start doing snapbacks. I had Dare and I was doing pacifier clips. So I actually saved up all my money to start doing that, and it was going really well. And then I had my little girl in 2018. And you know, what's funny is I was actually going to quit. Like, it was going okay, but it wasn't like something that I felt like I necessarily had a strong why I wanted to do it at first. And so I had her, and then we realized that she wasn't using the right side of her face. So we had a lot of medical issues when she was first born, and then we had a MRI at like 2 months old. That's when we found out she has facial palsy. So she actually has a missing 7th cranial nerve, which is extremely rare. So there's not very many people in the world that have that. And so that was kind of hard on top of it, because it was kind of like a mystery diagnosis. They actually thought she was the only one at first.
Oh, wow.
So that was, like crazy. So our doctor had to go like back to the books to figure out what even that was and what it meant. But it is something that we have to protect her eye, especially from the sun. It's extremely uncomfortable. So I was going to quit this company, and now I'm told that I have to put hats on her. Like, it was just this crazy calling of like, are you kidding me? Like,
wow.
That's what I do. And now I have this little girl, so, and to be honest, that's kind of when my why developed, because when I got the diagnosis that she was going to have permanent facial palsy, which causes, I don't know if you're not familiar, it makes it so she can't close her right eye or use her right side of her lip. And so she has a physical difference. And I bawled. I cried, and not because my little girl's not perfect, not because she's not beautiful, but because I didn't go to school because I had a zit on my face.
Yeah.
And now I have, this little girl with this physical difference. So I have this hat company, but more than anything, I wanted to use this product as a why to create education and information to other people that physical differences are okay, and that is a superpower and awesome. So it has been going so good, and it fulfills me so much, because we get to create these products that help other kids like her that have tiny little heads and babies that need a hat to cover their eye, but we also are creating a difference. So
that's awesome, and I love that. One thing that I wanted to touch on that you mentioned was you said that you weren't sure what your why is, like, when you started, and it's something that you kind of had to fall into, but like, can you like describe a little bit more on like what that feeling was like when you were like, oh my gosh, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, like, this is my purpose?
Yeah, no, I get chills even when you say it, because it was like the best feeling in the entire world. Because when a big part was, so I kept doing it after I found it, but what it felt like the most was I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were actually talking about how they wanted their kid to be like popular. I don't know. And I've never been that way. And I'm over here like, there is more to this world than our looks.
Yeah.
And to make a difference, we need to be teaching our kids that more of a purpose, and that will fulfill them. And so that's actually one of my biggest like moments was I have a lot of work to do. And I get to use these hats to sell and to create education. It just kind of kept going. I had so many signs. It was kind of, I had some huge wholesalers reach out to me right after I found out, and it just kept falling into place. And that's just kind of what's pushed me to go. I mean, I wanted to quit 1,000 times, but I just keep tap, like, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And to kind of expand on that too, because I've been a business owner myself for about 7 years. And so I know, what that roller coaster is like. But for a lot of people that either want to get into owning a business or maybe are new to it and like are not used to that up and down, what advice can you give somebody that might be doubting their purpose or like doubting their business? What advice do you have for them?
I would say consistency is key. Because it does not, even when you feel the ups, like, you're never going to have a good day 2 days in a row. Like, it's never going to happen. It's going to be up and it's going to be down. You have to have a strong why. And I believe that so much. And I think that you can start a business without a why, and you'll learn a why a lot of times in your business.
Yeah.
But if you are a why-based business from the beginning, just hold on to that. And every time you have a bad day, maybe even have like a note by you to keep you going. And if you don't have a why, just one little thing at a day at a time, you're going to see that something's going to happen. But it is going to take a lot of hard work, and you're going to want to quit probably 80 million times.
Yeah.
So I would say consistency.
I love that. And that's something that I think, like, it's such a general term, like, it's so easy. We use it all the time, but it's something that we almost like have to practice like habitually. It's like, okay, today, creating that routine and just like getting up every day and just doing it, so I love that. So you said that a couple wholesalers have reached out to you. Where is your business right now? Like, what are you currently working on?
So I'm currently working still on the hat. So I'm located in Utah, and so that's where a lot of the retailers that are big in Utah, like the big baby brands here, and like boutiques. So, and like I said, consistency is key. I went into those boutiques, dropped off hats, emailed, called. I mean, it wasn't like a one-time wonder. It literally took, like I said, consistency to get in there. And so right now I'm just working on my relationships with the hats. Also, I think a big part of why they like to carry the baby hats, because they're cute. Obviously, they're freaking adorable. Yeah. But the message behind, I think, is what's helping them too, push that out, is to have a message behind the brand. And then I'm just working on the education part of it. So that's kind of the next step, is reaching out to even like groups and talking about and making a difference with the next generation, and talking about people being different.
Yeah. I love that mission. And like you said, I think that, not only is it people being different, but I think just being like honest and transparent about who we are and like what you're going through. Because a lot of times I think even parents, like, what if there's a lot of parents that are in your same situation and don't know how to properly communicate and educate other people about their situation? I just had another conversation with another gal about this, that, people try to paint this perfect picture about, what your life should look like. And like, it's not always like that, but how can people connect if they don't know?
Yeah. Well, and I also think it's, so what I do now too is I talk to my little boy. He's 4, and he's in preschool, but I talk to him all the time that you don't know what kids are going through. Yeah. And at that age, kids are curious. So they'll see something different and they want to know. And right now what we do is, like, let's say if it is a physical difference. So if we're going somewhere and we see somebody who's, maybe a different colored skin than we're used to, or if it's somebody who has no arm or is Down syndrome, he's going to be a little bit not understanding, and he's probably curious because he doesn't have that around his family as much. He's not diverse to it. And so I stop him and I say, do you see that person without an arm? They are just like you. They like the same things as you, and they want to be seen. Why don't you say hi? And I think that's something that can change, especially even with, we don't know what everyone's going through. And I think as we get older, you know, it's easier to like want to connect with people on deeper levels, but to our kids, to like not hurt someone's feelings, we're like, shh, don't point at that person, right? And I think they just want to be talked to. I think it's fine. I'm sure my daughter would say, what's wrong with your face? And then let's be friends. You know, it doesn't need to be a hush hush. And I think that's something that needs to change. More vulnerable, even kids going to school. And I think they're going to have happier, more fulfilled lives. I hate that it has to be, you know, a lot of people had hard times in school and then they get out of school and they can figure it out. But that's what I think we can change.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, how much do you think, because I mean, obviously society plays a big role in that, but what are some things that you think that parents or even adults can do to kind of aid in your overall mission of just being more open and vulnerable and just, you know, accepting people, not even accepting people, but just being more open about, you know, disabilities and, you know, things like that?
So I think living by example, especially parents need to do that instead of not just tell their kids. I think that the biggest way they'll learn is by, and one thing that I always talk about is you don't have to agree or like someone to be kind to them. You really don't. You know, you can not be like the same things as somebody, but you can still be nice to them. And I think that's what parents need to change is, I think that people need to be open and kind to each other. And I think kids need to see that and be like, oh, you can still talk to these people, but it doesn't necessarily mean we need to have a relationship with them completely. So I think that needs to change, is just people need to stop just like social, I don't know, like seeing that person and thinking they're better than you. No one's better than anyone. And I think if we can start acting like that towards people and then they'll see that, I think it's going to change the trajectory of the younger generation.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's so important, because if we want to stop, you know, how people are reacting right now, like we need to be the ones to change that. So I think that's awesome. So tell our listeners, like, I'm really excited to know this, but where do you want your hat brand to be in like 5 years? Where are you hoping to be?
So I'm hoping to, I mean, if I sell 1,000 hats, thousands of hats, or one hat, my goal is in 5 years, if somebody sees a Durr hat, that they can recognize what the message behind it means. So I'm just trying to reach more people, talk to more groups, and that's kind of where I want to be. It's great to be in places, but more than that is, I hope that we can make changes.
That's awesome. Well, I super appreciate you coming on the podcast. I think your message and your mission is so big, and it's so much bigger than just us. And I'm just happy that we can support that. Do you have anything else for our listeners? It can be business advice. It could be, you know, anything about your story. Do you have any like last little tidbit of advice that you can give our listeners before we sign off?
Yeah. I mean, if you're in a business, you're doing a freaking good job, first off, because it is really hard, especially it's really lonely. And reach out to other people who are like-minded and think, that's one thing for business. But with making a difference is just start noticing your thoughts and maybe start changing your thoughts to be a little bit kinder, and then it will help with your actions.
I love that, and I think it's a great place to wrap up. So AJ, if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to see your hats, shop your hats, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. It's at The Durr Company, or you can go to our website and it's thedurrcompany.com. So you can kind of find everything there, and a lot of kind information and information to help your kids too.
Okay, perfect. And for everybody out there that's listening right now, all of those links are in the description on the Anchor dashboard. So I made it super easy. You guys can just go and click those links down below. And AJ, I just really appreciate you coming on the show today. I'm looking forward to kind of following your journey and seeing where you can take this kindness train.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, you guys, this is Krista, your host for the Women Going Big podcast, and I'm signing us off. So wherever you may be, I hope that you're spreading kindness, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day, and maybe it just got a little bit better. So until next time, this is Krista, and I'm signing off. Bye, guys.